a number of people have already come up to me and said, did we see the Myanmar earthquakes? And yes, we did. Well, when you say earthquakes in plural, there's a story there. So this is, pointer here. This is obviously the 7.7. A 7.7 is a big, big, big earthquake. Lots and lots of energy being released. And it is was 5,300 miles away. And this is how it looked in my front hall. Now, interestingly, there are two earthquakes there because this is another one. You may think, but this is a 7.7, this is a 6.7. Okay, and I can't do that, I'll have to do this. These are those two quakes happening within literally minutes of each other. So first of all, the 7.7 was a huge displacement along fault. This is from the USGS, and it's the intensity map, and the displacement was right the way along here. It wasn't just Mandalay. It was a huge shift, which is why all that destruction all over Myanmar. And then, a few minutes later, how many minutes later? So this was at 6:20 and this was at 6:32. So 12 minutes later, there was this 6.7 around Mandalay. There's Mandalay there. As if that wasn't enough. Now, since then, there have been aftershocks galore, mostly in the, there must be all sorts of sizes, but I only get notified of the ones that are over 5. And then, my notification on my phone just goes ping every, several times a day. But we didn't see any of those. And you can see from the, it's not good me pressing that. See from this again. So, yeah. So there's our 7.7. This is 6.7. Anything below 6, you just don't see at that distance. Okay. But interestingly, there's another earthquake on this track. It's not that, that's noise. It's not that, that's noise. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, somebody dropped something or something. No, it's this. Okay. And the way you can tell these things is that you look at the frequency spectra and that sort of stuff, and earthquakes are very distinctive. I've talked about that in the past. So this is an earthquake there, and that was, so that's the 6.7, that's the other one, and that was from here. It's the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. It's one of the offsets on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and that was a 6.6. But actually, for once we can get both us and the earthquake on the same map. Interestingly, up here, so these are just magnitude 6 and more. Up here is another earthquake that happened. It's this one here, 6.9 on the Reykjanes Ridge. Again, it's an offset on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And we picked that one up as well. So it's that one. I've no idea what this noise is. It comes up every now and again, but it's an odd one. But that's not the only stuff we've been seeing. This is, so just going down this list, anything that's 7, we see wherever in the world it is, really. And this is the Tonga earthquake, which you may have heard of. That was a magnitude 7. And just for reference, Tonga is 10,300 miles away. And down here, in the south of South Island, New Zealand, 12,000 miles away, was this one here, a 6.7, from quite literally the other side of the world, which I've talked about before. Yes, so that's the Tonga one. So remind you, 10,300 miles away, and that's the Tonga earthquake there. So if it's a 7 or above, we see it anywhere. If it's a 6, we may or may not, between 6 and 7, and below 6, they have to be within reasonable distance.